Hey, beautiful people, I'm back. And I'm here with another Satanism. And with what's going on in America, it's a good thing I've been doing this since before this shit started happening. I knew it was going to happen. No, I don't have any special powers. I don't believe in that shit. I just saw the signs, you know, saw what was happening and, you know, that kind of thing. It's not that mysterious. Alrighty. So let me share my screen. Here we go. Share screen. Okay. Let me make sure it's up so you can hear it. Alrighty. And let me mute myself so it doesn't echo. And here we go. By the way, this should be the last of it. It may or may not be. We've got about 40 minutes left of this particular one. I've got others lined up, but you know, if this isn't the last of this particular one, then the next one will be. We've got about 40 minutes left on this one. So here we go.
Seriously and must be dealt with. The most tragic stories that I've ever heard are where a child has told people what's been happening, and the adults have said, don't be stupid, that doesn't happen in this country.
The problem we're coming across is that the higher officials in these public organizations do not want to acknowledge that this is occurring.
Is the court system able to handle this type of philosophy? Do they believe in Satanism? I mean, a lot of people just laugh at it.
You know, maybe a lot of people laugh at it because it is utterly silly. Of course, because you idiots decided to pressure everybody and their brother. There ended up being a satanic panic in the 80s and 90s, and we're not about to let that happen again. So you can just go fuck yourselves. Moving on.
One of the more powerful rituals in Satanism is the Black Mass, a parody of the Catholic Mass in which the text is said backwards and
No idea if there is a Black Mass. Don't really care. It has nothing to do with the Witches' Sabbath. The Witches' Sabbath is something totally different. And by the way, there are 4 Sabbats in witchcraft and not just one. Okay? So learn your shit before you even try to educate people on it because you obviously need educating yourselves. And again, uh the authorities are not going to fall for this crap again. So you're just wasting your breath. Even though it was 40 years ago, and history does have a way of repeating itself, but hopefully we learned something the last time this happened, and it's not going to happen again, no matter what you idiots think we ought to do. It's probably not going to happen, which makes me feel real good. All right, moving on.
in which many other sacred Christian traditions are mocked.
In Satanism, you have rituals that are designed, first of all, to deliberately mock God. So in our particular type of Satanism, we would mock
Mm, maybe in like edgy teenage phase Satanism, but not organized Satanism, except theistic Satanism, which there aren't very many theistic organized Satanism. There's one in England, but it's not very big. And I don't even know if it's still around, to be honest with you. And I don't really care. Um, so, atheistic Satanism, no, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in Satan. So you're just wrong, 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 wrong. And I have no idea how you can be this wrong and still say you were a Satanist. Actually, I do. You want money and power, and that's all the fuck you want. And it cost a lot of the world a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort that could have been spent elsewhere, but you fools decided this was the best way to spend our resources. Thank you very much. We don't need that again. Shut the fuck up and move on with your life.
Like say the Catholic Mass, we would consecrate communion hosts, and then we would do things like stamp on them or urinate on them or other things.
And I'm curious, what makes you think Catholicism is the right branch of Christianity? How do you know Christianity is the right religion? You don't. That's the problem. You don't know any of this shit. Anyway, moving on.
Things, believing that by doing that we were somehow abusing God.
I was the altar, which involved me being naked, spread-eagled on a low plinth. I had a candle in each hand. One of the other priestesses was a nun, was dressed up as a nun. She had to wee into a bucket, and that
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Um, what she's describing sounds like a Wiccan spring ritual. Uh, but in the Wiccan spring ritual, she is a symbol of the goddess. She is not the altar. And a man is the symbol of a god, and they copulate to signal the beginning of spring and the beginning of new life on the earth. So that's what that's about. Has nothing to do with Satanism. Moving on.
was used to asperge cover us in it. We had toast with little crosses on, little circles, and that was used as a sacrament, and it was placed up my
So we've got one quote unquote Satanist saying the host was the sacrament, and we got this dudette saying something totally different. Will you please make up your minds? If this was really, organized, whatever. Just whatever. Moving on. Before we move on, though, can you see how ridiculous this shit is? Moving on.
Whatever I can say on American TV, and then it was placed on my lips, that was how it was blessed. Then it was sprinkled with urine, and then it was thrown on the ground and had to be trampled by everybody. And then a lot of Latin guff was talked. Hail Satan! I rescind all previous allegiances to any other god. You're the supreme, that sort of stuff. All the power that was raised through this ritual was used for killing off Christians.
Sure, it was. So I got a question for you. Do you really, honestly believe all this shit, or are you just saying it for money and attention and power? Because I think it's the latter. I think you're saying it for money, attention, and power. Because there's no way you went through this shit. No fucking way. Moving on.
Satanists believe that sexual perversions combined with the spilling of innocent blood conjures up the strongest powers.
Maybe edgy teenage phasey Satanists do. You know, the ones that aren't really Satanists, but they don't commit this stuff because they believe in Satan. They believe in Satan because they commit these horrible atrocities. Those kinds of people, yeah. But the organized Satanists, no, not even. Try again.
Reports show animals, including dogs, cats, goats, and horses, being savagely skinned alive, having their blood drained, organs.
Yeah, reports do show that. And you know what? I actually believe those reports. Because we're talking about the 80s and into the 90s, but mostly the 80s. You know what was happening during the 80s in America? Try to guess what was happening in America during the 80s. A lot of my American audience is going to guess right away. Um, a lot of you who are not Americans may not know. Uh, Serial K. And you can fill in the rest of that. Yeah, that was happening. And what's part of the McDonald triad? You guessed it. Animal abuse is part of the McDonald triad. The McDonald triad, by the way, is you can look it up. It's not considered foolproof, but it is considered a way to try to understand who will and will not be a you know what. So yeah. So anyway, uh yeah. So totally Yeah, I totally believe that. So, that's not Satanism, though. Come on, do better than that. Seriously. You're not doing much to make yourselves look like experts in this area. In fact, you're making yourselves look like goddamn idiots. Moving on.
Removed or being split open and nailed to upside down crosses. Interestingly, Humane Society officials note that many mass murderers were originally involved in animal mutilations.
We have an epidemic of young people participating in some strata of Satanism. Now, that doesn't mean that they're all out sacrificing human beings, but they may very well.
Gee, imagine that. Somebody actually tells the truth on one of these fucking quote unquote documentaries. More like liar-mentaries, but anyway. Yeah. Um and he is right. Um but he's not gonna bother doing that. He's just gonna say but and go right on through like he never even said that. Moving on.
I'll be doing the rituals that involve mutilation of animals. These rituals going on.
If you kill an animal, that exerts a tremendous amount of energy that the people there can sort of vampirize on. And so animals would be slain.
I am very tired of this dude. Very tired of this dude. You know, it could be that they had some voodoo practitioners. Voodoo practitioners do practice animals, you know. But organized Satanists do not. Sorry, bud. Do you have any other lies you want to tell us? Well, obviously you do because you're still on screen. So, what other lies do you want to tell us?
And this is especially true on the high holidays like Beltane and Samhain, Halloween, and May Eve.
Samhain. Samhain, not Samhain. Samhain. Jesus fucking Christ. And Beltane and Samhain are, first of all, Beltane is not a high holiday. The high holidays are the Sabbats, which, I mean, okay, Beltane is a Sabbath. It's a cross holiday, is what it is, but it's not a high Sabbath. So it's not a high holiday. Samhain is a high holiday because it is the pagan New Year, the Wiccan New Year. And that is why Samhain is a high holiday. But Beltane is not a high holiday. It is a cross holiday. The only high holidays are the Sabbats and Samhain, not Samhain. All right, moving on.
I had my incredibly sharp knife, and there was drumming going on in the background. And I thought, it was going to be amazing. And then I just cut its head off like that, suddenly. And that was it.
They brought in alive a white cockerel, the symbol of denial, and they rang it.
Wow. Like, fucking wow. I already lost my monetization, so fuck it. Hey, if you want me to keep making videos that'll get demonetized, I've got a PayPal, or you can become a member of this channel for as low as 99 cents a month. You get custom emojis and debunks early. So, and I have a Patreon. Don't forget about the Patreon. So, anyway, all right. So, I have never done that. Take even an animal's head off. Okay. Do you know how hard that would be? Do you know how hard bone is? Because I know how hard bone is. I took anatomy. I took college anatomy. I know how hard fucking bone is. And it doesn't just, you can't do that. It does not happen. You have to be working for that shit. All right, moving on.
Its neck at the high altar, and they slit its throat, and they caught the blood in one of the cups from the high altar. My arm was cut. They stirred the blood in the cup with a knife. I had to drink that blood, put my finger in the blood, and sign a real parchment, not a silly scrap of paper, but a real proper parchment.
Okay. Leave a comment in the comment section. How many people think they're reading off a script? And how many people think they're just making this bullshit up as they move along? Personally, I think it's the second one. Moving on.
That I would serve the devil the rest of my life.
I would strap the animal into the middle of the pentagram. Then I would take a portion of the blood or the body and drink it or eat it. I believed that by doing this, more power and more ability was being placed into my body.
There's something about sacrifice. If you do it once, you want to do it all the time. Once you've actually passed the barrier of sacrificing an animal, you get this sort of bloodlust where you really want to do it.
Yeah, that's false. Ask the voodoo priests and priestesses. They sacrifice animals and they never get bloodlust. Sorry, but you're just full of shit.
And I really wanted to do it.
It's believed that if you just kill an animal, that's not much good. You've got to kill it slowly because, and this would be true of a person too, of course, that the screams and that the
Okay, so this dude is saying what the dudette said in the other clip is not true. That's interesting. Did you people even cross check this shit before you put it on TV? Seriously. And believe it or not, people bought this. Hook, line, and sinker. People bought this. It really is amazing.
Agony of the animal would contribute to the high level of power.
What results we had. After just the first ritual, we were moved.
Okay, is this what Christians think Satanists look like? No, I mean, seriously. This, seriously, it looks like a liar-minery that Christians made of Satanists. You know, where they have no fucking clue what Satanists believe, who Satanists are. They just put this liar-minery together. And yeah, that's a word I just made up. Go with it, okay? But yeah, I mean, come on. What the fuck? Do you think we are this stupid? Honestly. I mean, yeah, sure, this was made in the 80s or early 90s. I'm not quite sure. But even back then, do you really think people were this dumb? Well, a lot of people were because there was the Satanic Panic. And that's blaming Satan for human actions. Because humans, if anybody did all of this, which there were a lot of, murders in the 80s and 90s, but that was humans. Had nothing to do with Satan. Why don't you try putting the blame where the blame lies for a change instead of blaming everything on Satan? Gee, that's a novel idea, huh?
To throw every effort into the successive workings. The power, the response.
Devil worshiping in the community can just stigmatize that community beyond repair. Probably one of the biggest problems would have to be political. They want to keep it under wraps as much as possible.
The reason some of it's being covered up specifically is for political reasons. It's obvious. For instance, a very wealthy community whose
Yeah, I'm not even going to go into the political shit, but that's exactly why it's happening again, because it's political, and that is what Christians want. But that's not what Christians are getting this time. Christians want terror. They want chaos, because chaos makes their worldview somehow a little less silly, because if there's chaos, then obviously we need a savior. But that's just not true, either of those premises. And yeah. So anyway, moving on.
plagued with a animal sacrifice in the community. Let's use cats, for instance. If the mayor of that particular community
So I got a question, and then this will be it for this live segment on my channel. Was this dude really a police officer? You know, because if he wasn't, then he could be charged with impersonating a police officer. Although I don't know, since it was a liarmentary, maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. I know TV actors can't, so maybe not. Who knows? But at any rate, um, but he was supposed to be a quote unquote real police officer, you know, and somehow I doubt that. I doubt that very much. So, what did you think? Did they make you a believer yet? No, me neither. This is just bullshit. Nothing but fucking bullshit. All right, folks. Thanks for coming. Again, leave your comments in the comment section. Please like this video if you haven't already. If you can afford it, and only if you can afford it, please become a member. You can become a member for as low as 99 cents a month. You get debunks early and you get custom emojis. You can also make a one-time gift on PayPal, link in the description. And I will see you guys later. Bye.